The news broke this afternoon, and as far as we are concerned, it is still breaking. President Muhammadu Buhari has officially declared his intention to run for the February 2019 presidential election. He made the announcement to the National Executive Committee of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. President Buhari, the 5th president of the 4th Republic in Nigeria, was elected in 2015 after his 3rd attempt. His victory made special headline news because he defeated a sitting president. That was the first time in the history of Nigeria that an incumbent president ever lost an election. While many people have been urging Mr. President to run again, the rumor mill has been open with speculations on whether or not he will. Now, it has become official. Nigeria Today, we shall be taking a look at President's intention to recontest and the benefits the country stands to gain in the continuity of the Buhari administration. I am Segun Ojelade. I'm being joined in the studio to discuss the issue of Mr. President's declaration to run again by Alhaji Danladi Pasali. He is the National Coordinator Buhari Campaign Organization. I welcome you to the program.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Yeah. On his left is Honorable Tayo Tola Agbaje, the National Secretary, APC Patriots. I welcome you, Honorable, to the program.
Thanks so much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Good evening, viewers.
I think I'll start with you, Alhaji Pasali.
Yeah.
The announcement came this afternoon that Mr. President will run again.
Yeah.
How do you receive the news?
Really, today has been the most joyful day of my life. In fact, we in the Buhari Campaign Organization have been clamoring for his coming back. And we have gone around all this country, we have done all the mobilization, the enlightenment, and at the end, it's like a prayer answer. God has answered our prayer, and Mr. President is running. And in fact, some of us has that belief that he's coming back, because the laudable program we have on ground, that this administration has on ground, there's no way there should be continuity.
Now, Honorable Agbaje, I want you to also react to that. How did you receive, or your organization, how do you receive the news of Mr. President running again?
Thank you so much. Well, for us in APC, and for some of our strong supporters as well, and for us as a country, as its follower, we agree with a very, it's a good news to us really, because it's what we have been expecting. If we have been expecting since the January for him to declare his intention to the contest, because if this affects what we can see on ground that the man has done. So it's a good development for him to the contest, so him to consolidate of what he has done so far. So now, it's a good news for us.
Yes, you mentioned the APC. I mean, the larger party now.
Exactly.
What is the feeling within the party now that Mr. President is running?
Of course, yeah, it's a good question. It's a good feeling. And it's a welcome development that is coming out, like I've said, to consolidate the gains. You have been strengthening democracy, even the party as well to strengthen the party. If you recall, about going to 2 weeks now, in the meeting they did at the party secretariat, he made it categorically clear that the extension is not, it won't be a party to that. And that's to tell you a man that's with integrity. That's a man that means well for the country. Because once you say you want to extend your church and it's not coming out with the constitution, it's not afford. And the opposition party will have to go to court, and even within the party, you can say some people are starting going to court already. So with that, with the announcement, it make everything to down. So say it's a good development for the party to reveal with good news that Mr. President is going again.
So now we talk about the achievements of the administration. And there are quite a number of them that the administration officials have been reeling out. Which one of them excites you most?
You see, in those days, the era of the era of the PDP era, whereby the security of the nation is at stake. In fact, issue of security, whereby we have not been seeing bomb blast everywhere in this country, is something that we must hail Mr. President. In those days, you remember in Abuja here, you are even afraid to enter into your market or into your churches or mosques to do your obligation before God. People are so afraid to even go into prayer. It shows clearly that at that time there is no country. So this is something that it is really something that we need Mr. President to consolidate the security of this country. Apart from that, there is this issue of fighting corruption. Corruption has been an issue.
Let's continue on this line of fighting insecurity.
Yeah.
We noticed that well, it's very, very in the air now. Government has been able to rescue 105 Chibok girls,
yes,
and then lately 110 Dapchi girls.
Yeah.
What does that show about the commitment of the administration to continue the fight against insurgency and to bring succor to those that are feeling the pinch?
Honestly, he has been doing wonderfully well in that area in terms of security, in terms of safeguarding the country. Honestly, before we have witnessed a lot of things that has happened in during Jonathan administration. We say it's not about blame game. Then we have to be realistic. What has happened? Then I go to Maiduguri very well. There was a time I slept myself only in the hotel in Maiduguri. In fact, the security situation then was not. Even the Boko Haram have captured like among local government, I'm about 24. There's this Buhari administration that got those things back. And if you see what is going, you go to in terms of economy or 12 months, things are going well now. But before, I'm telling you, the other time I stay in Maiduguri, you hear you hear the one bang. They say it's for when they're about to when they're about to strike. But the other one, they say bang. You know, something has happened. They've already. So it's too disturbing. It's too disturbing. There was time I was going to Maiduguri. There's a big called Benishek, Boko Haram for that place. In fact, they came more than 193 travelers there. I can say, in this country we are, so there's no more security. But go to other, even in the northeast, like he said, to buttress it. In Abuja, if you want to enter a shopping mall, you want to enter a mosque, you want to enter a church, you have such fear that anything can happen. Because you don't know when they bomb the UN house there. So the security situation, even as a state, in a state capital, in a federal capital, was so disturbing. Then, but this time nobody can get the fact that things happen. In as much we have some lapses, we can't rule about that. We can't share from that. But now, the difference is entirely clear. We can say that 80% demand as performing selling with time security.
Okay, but some people are likely to the shortcomings, like you said, that well, people are still being killed.
No, you see, in this situation, there are people that are saboteurs. Some people felt that they should sabotage the government so that they can politicize the security of the nation. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, I was in Maiduguri. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria where we have a pyramid built by Maiduguri farmers.
Okay. A pyramid.
With a pyramid of rice.
Rice, okay.
Which was clearly that peace has returned to Maiduguri. In as such as even the so-called the peaceful state could not even produce a pyramid of rice. But we have seen a pyramid of rice in Maiduguri, which was clearly that there is a very ample development. There is no single part of Nigeria that has been held hostages by Boko Haram. So it shows clearly that the government is really working in terms of security.
Yeah, but even those that IDPs, many of them are already returning to
they have returned. We went around. Some of I am telling you, this is a story that I've just left Maiduguri 2 weeks ago to launch that pyramid. In fact, we went around to the IDP. The week we went, the governor is telling us that there is returning the Bama people. And the Bama people have returned back to their homes. Almost all the villages have returned back. In fact, they are farming. Not only returning, but they are farming. So
now let's look at the achievements in the area of economy. We came out of recession, and like he said, farmers are back to the farm. And again, rice production, for instance, has greatly increased. Then now, is Mr. President coming to consolidate on those ones from your point of view?
Definitely is going to do that. It's going to do more in that area of regulation just mentioned. If you can remember vividly, well, last year, it's not only last year, I think we exported yams to a country.
Yes.
And that's to tell you the farmers, they are working and they are happy. There is a farmer that you see some of them buying cars, some of them living a good life, meaningful life now. So they have been exposed to a lot of things, mechanized farming, they are doing it. And we can see the boost in the agricultural sector is going. Nobody can deny that fact. And you cannot deny the area of transportation. This man is doing fund when I will fly away. And we cannot deny the project of the economy as well. Before you see most of these fictitious, this thing they used to in government agency, government ministry, government, etc. How those director, PAMSEC, how government function, they are doing it. But those ones they have reduced to bare minimum level now. That's why the man, to show that the man is working about the project of the resources that should be for the common, for the everybody to enjoy the country, because the country belongs to all of us. He's doing fantastically well. The man, so that's the more he needs a second time to consolidate all those gains he has done so far.
Yes, that is an anti-corruption fight. The administration has been quite vigorous in the area of fighting corruption and recovering loot. Yes, but some people still believe that okay, maybe there is need to give it more bites than we have at present. What do you think?
You see, in terms of corruption, you will also agree with me that the whole African nation, the whole African countries met at AU.
Yes.
To say that Mr. President has become the champion of Africa in fighting corruption, which shows clearly that the corruption fight in Nigeria is working. And more so that we have a situation, if you go to Maitama, to Asokoro, you see houses that are even deserted. They are looking for the owner of the houses, there are no owners. In fact, we learned from the statistic we have from the BCO, we have over 11,000 houses that are, there is no owner. In fact, we're even calling on Mr. President to auction those houses to Nigerians so that the commoners can have some houses in Asokoro and Maitama. And more so that it is a record that we find a situation where in the airport, people run away and left his money. They're asking who is the owner of this money. Everybody is saying he's not the owner. So it shows clearly that corruption is really, people are returning money, people are facing tribunal, people are facing court cases. So it shows clearly that the fight against, in fact, there is sanity in the system. Even as at now, if you go to some of the civil servants have been confessing that look now, to even touch one kobo, they must be thinking twice. So it shows clearly this.
So the consciousness is there now.
The consciousness is there.
Okay.
So, and we need that is why some of us are clamoring for this continuity, because this continuity, it is a must. In fact, some of us have wanted to even drag the president to court. We have even filed a suit. We have even served the Attorney General. But it is because we know that as a man of the people, he sat down, slept over, think twice, and know that there is no way this kind of gain will just be left to be rubbish in the future. So it must be sustained.
Let's look at Mr. President's integrity. People say that is one very, very critical thing that Mr. President has going for him. His name, his good name. To what extent can that carry him in this fresh campaign to run in 2019?
You have said it, honestly you have said it, and that it has shown clearly to even to the whole world. Of recent, about 2 months they gave him the anti-corruption crusader in Africa, and that's to show you how serious he is about the anti-corruption, right? And it's about his integrity. That's what really worked for us in 2015. I remember when we were campaigning, people laugh at us, they say we can't go anywhere, we don't have money, we don't have the wherewithal to face them, to fight despite the PDP. But I keep on telling them that we have a product. We have a product, and also when you talk of Coca-Cola, every note and credit you see there, that this product we are, it's a selling product, it's a good product for us. For us to market it, it's not going to be difficult. And just like what we did in 2015, and we are going to do more this time around. And we don't even need to do much like in 2000, because they have seen it clearly that at least this man is working, this man is perfecting. There is a progress in the country. The country is moving forward. The country is moving to the right direction. All we just need to do to make some advantage, and we not deny that fact in some areas. Because some ministers are really not performing in this country. I must be honest with you. Some ministers, they are not doing anything, they are not adding value to what it's doing. And that's why it's not showing. We have some area that we need to amend, which we draw his attention there.
Okay.
It's very fundamental. We have to do that.
Okay.
But as regards the integrity of the man, it's intact, it's solid, it's there. It's a man of integrity.
Okay. Now, the program is Nigeria Today. We're taking a look at Mr. President's declaration to run for a second term. We went round the FCT to take the opinions of Nigerians on Mr. President's declaration. We'll take a short break and we'll take those comments.
it is okay because even all the previous presidents have done their second term, so it's not going to be very bad. My own opinion, he can continue.
In my family now, I have 2 of my brothers who are not working for like 4 years, which are into Empower. Now I have a brother who, through the Empower program, has a fish pond of his own. And honestly, I think these are one of the opportunities you will never get from other government.
I'm happy about it because it's a welcome development. It's just like somebody that started something. He knew what he's trying to put in place. Governance is all about continuity.
The looters, that he has fetched some of them out, and some are still in the government, which he need to fetch them out too, to deal with them too. And I want, if our judiciary can give him hand to prosecute those people and jail them, we appreciate that.
You're welcome back. The views of Nigerians there on Mr. President's intention to run again. Now, one common theme there is continuity. What are those areas that you feel, okay, if Mr. President does not come back or does not run again, that we can have problem when we talk continuity?
No, you see, we thank God that there is no issue of not going again, because he has already in fact, we have forced him to even come back. You see, let me tell you, fighting corruption is not easy in Africa. And we have seen that the issue of corruption is the one that devastated the whole of Africa. Not only Nigeria, the whole of Africa. And corruption is key in the fight against, in this program of continuity. And also economic diversification. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria, at a time, we didn't even rely much on crude sales, because the price of crude have really devastated. If you look at even the cost of production, we cannot even meet up the cost of production at one time. And this is the first time in the history of Nigeria whereby without even crude, Nigeria are paying salaries, Nigeria are doing building roads, are doing so many projects. Even at that time that the price of crude was so much, could not even meet up the cost of producing a barrack. So you see, these are kind of leader we want, leader that can look inward, leader that can mobilize the people to go back to other alternative. And this is what we are seeing in Nigeria. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria where over 75% of Nigeria are going back to farm. We are now thinking of exporting everything you can think of, rice, yam, most of the things we are all exporting. And there are so many programs on ground, like the INCUMBENT program of Mr. President, where you assist the farmer directly. If you go to the villages now, people are jubilating today, because I've been receiving phone calls here and there. People are jubilating that Mr. President is continuing. That's what we are calling for. And you see, it's all depend on integrity. People look at him as a leader with integrity. And that is the kind of leader we are talking about. Okay,
now, Mr. President has declared, but we are all aware that he can't do it alone. He needs active support of the party and party members to go around the nooks and crannies of this country to campaign for him. How intact is this support for Mr. President within his own party?
Thank you so much. For the meeting I went this evening before I came down to this paper, the APC aspirant forum, which did, that's some of the issues we really deliberated much. Now, the journey have started again. And just like we did the other time, we are going to do that. We are going to strategize, because politics is a game of common sense and strategy. We get the flags from the people, and we know how and when we can handle this area, handle this area. We know how and how we can sell it to the populace again, based on what he has done, based on his performance. And we are not going to fold our arms and say that he has made his intention to run. Even before he made his intention, we have started doing that. In every nook and cranny of this country, we have started mobilizing for him, support for this man to be there. This man has done his job, a good job. Let's consolidate on that. For 8 years, it will stabilize. It will stay our fledgling democracy, and most of them will be happy. Are you getting me? So we are going to, this job was started already, and we are going to do more to sell him to the tower that this is the man that is good for the job for now. Okay.
Now, I'm even more interested in cohesion within the party. Yes. Some of the news that we're receiving from party members still shows that, well, there are still bickerings here and there. To what extent is the party united enough to drive this Mr. President's new agenda? And
the truth is that the party is solid, the party is consolidated. You see, in every political setup, I mean, even within a family, there must be small sort of bickery here and there. It's normal in democracy. But you see, the truth is that because of the president programs on ground, that is achievement within these few years. Like, okay, let me give you an example. If you go to the Northeast, apart from security, fighting insurgency, even the Mambila issue, you can't go to Taraba now and start talking of Mr. President, because the Mambila project that has been there for about 5 to 10 years that could not be done. Mr. President has done it. If you go back to the Southwest,
he's doing it.
He's doing it. If you go to the Southwest now, you see the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. It is now on ground. At a time, a Southwesterner has been the president of this country for 8 years. Maybe he has forgotten that the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road has been an issue for years. You look at in the East, Enugu Onitsha, even between Enugu, Port Harcourt Express Road has been is ongoing, and in fact even 75% have this, even the third Niger Bridge. These are issues that this is a very clear, very strategic project that Mr. President has put in place and is working. Even the rail issue now, you look at people now running away to go to rail. In fact, at the time, children are saying that they have never seen this train. They only saw it on the TV, but now they are seeing it live. They enter from Kaduna, from Enugu, from Kaduna to Abuja. It just clear that there are so many sellable things because of Mr. President's integrity. You know, there is one saying in Hausa, one single thing can even cover the whole nation. So the integrity of Mr. President has made APC to become intact. So as far as we're concerned, APC is intact. And the campaign is that the people, it's not only APC, people of different political affiliation are all talking of Mr. President to continue.
Okay, we can't pretend that all Nigerians are for once Mr. President to come back. How do we win those ones that are still skeptical? What are the campaign strategies to bring them into the fold to fully accept Mr. President and vote for him in 2019?
Honestly, I must agree with you, because as a media person as well, you know what is really happening in the country. And if you go to social media, you saw people say, no, Buhari will not come again based on this and that. And then when you see the majority that is clamoring for this man to come back, you know that. And in politics, you know, it's about game of numbers. It's about game of numbers. In as much as we believe there's something that's supposed to be put in place, we are not that. But definitely, we still talk to them for them to have a sense of reason that this man will still do better. They've even given another 4 years to do. We still need to do that. We still need to do, there's a job to see, we still need to do more job and give them a conviction that why you need to follow this man, why you need to support you, why you need to give your own director support to him. Because if you compare with the previous administration, some people can write letters, some people can make notes, some people can say blah blah everything, but just make a comparison. Make a comparison. Just like I said something about political party. Of course, you see some random here and there. In any political setting, you don't expect that. It's not a graveyard. And that's why we make it more interesting. We disagree to agree. It's about intellectual discussion. Are you getting me? So those ones, we need to handle them. As time goes on, once he has declared now, we have a job to do. We one-on-one, we talk to them, and we can read them, we can discuss for them to see the commission that the man is very good for the country.
Lastly, because of our time, there will be more contestants. Yes. Some have even declared their intention. We are not even sure that more will not, even by the break of the day. Now, what assurance do we have that the APC government will provide the level playing field for all aspirants?
You see, it has happened in the past in Anambra, in some other places. You see a situation where the party is not involved in the presidency does not interfere in any electoral matter. You see it in Anambra, what happened in Anambra, even so many elections like that. So you see, let me tell you, the truth is that the achievement of Mr. President is so glaring. People are seeing it physically. And as far as the party is concerned, APC we have gone down to the grassroots. People like our organization, like Buhari Campaign Organization, it is a campaign of enlightenment and good governance, and also trying to enlighten the public, the commoners, the real achievement of Mr. President, the achievement is touching the life of every family in this country, because almost 75% of Nigeria have gone back to farm. They have seen other alternative than only but staying in Abuja, looking for contract, carrying bags, all these briefcase people. Most of them have gone back to the farm. And these are the vision and mission of Mr. President. So in a nutshell, the truth is that 75 to 80% of Nigeria are with Mr. President, are also with the APC. So it's just like what my colleague has been saying. In every situation, the majority must have their way. The minority must also have their voice.
I must thank you, Alhaji Danladi Pasali, of the Buhari Campaign Organization. You are the national coordinator.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your participation on the program.
Thank you very much.
And then I thank you, Honorable Tayo Tola Agbaje, of the APC Patriots. You are the national secretary. I thank you also for
thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be, and I need to commend you as well. You people are doing a wonderful and fantastic job.
Thank you. Thank you.
And God will always be with you.
Amen.
Because I've been watching your programs on political network, and it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Kudos to you.
Thank you. Well, this is where we call it a date on the program Nigeria Today. We shall be back tomorrow. I am Shegun Ojelade. Bye-bye.